Many reasons existed for me to complete my master's and choose APU in which to do it at. For financial reasons, it would move me up the pay scale. And as I approach retirement, that becomes more important. For personal reasons, I really wanted to have this accomplishment. My parents had both earned their own masters. But on a different level, I really believe that God has something out on the horizon for me, something that He's moving me towards. And I just had felt this urging for quite some time that I had to get in and complete my master's. After considering other universities in the area, I made an appointment with Vicki at the Murrieta campus of Azusa Pacific. As I sat down and talked with her about what I had accomplished in the classroom over the last 20 years, she asked me, well, what do you want to be doing 10 years from now? And I expressed to her a desire to take my show on the road. I am a health and drug educator, and I really want to educate the community, to educate teenagers' parents about the dangers that are out there in the teenage world today. I presented an idea to Vicki that I wanted to put together a package, a workshop. Its title would be Teen Parties of the New Millennium. And it would be a 2-hour presentation over 3 sessions, so 6 hours in total, to people in the community, primarily parents. As a child grows, you can mark their progress on a chart as they stand against a wall, and you can see the growth as it happens. However, for me in this graduate program, my growth was all on the inside, something that would be very hard to quantify or to put numbers and measurement to. During college, a mentor of mine challenged me to consider what inanimate object would best symbolize my life. I spent some time considering her question. As a high school student, I had read the St. Simon's trilogy by Eugenia Price. It was a historical novel about a man hired to build a lighthouse on St. Simon's Island, Georgia. For me, that began a deep fascination with lighthouses. I have traveled to and photographed most of the lighthouses on the West Coast from San Diego to Seattle, and on the East Coast from Jacksonville to New York. I came to the realization that a lighthouse fit my calling in life. I am built on the rock, the Word of God, not on the sinking sand, the world's ideologies that come and go. I stand tall, as a lighthouse does. Each lighthouse is an original in its color scheme and the light flashing sequence, which help them to be easily recognized by sailors. I too am easy to spot, because I live my life differently than the majority. Not surprisingly, I also teach very differently. Lighthouses were symbols of hope to sailors looking for their port, and I try to be a person offering hope to people, especially teenagers, fighting the turbulence of life. I choose to focus on the positive and the possibilities. Lighthouses gave direction to their sailors to help them approach land safely. They warned of rock and land outcroppings and low spots. I readily accept that my life is to serve as a guide to others, especially teenagers, as they navigate the rough waters of adolescence. I have many responsibilities in my life, and many who look to me for support. I am a mom to a very active 15-year-old son. He is involved in athletics, constantly moving from one team to another as the seasons change. I play the role of mom and mentor to one of his close friends who doesn't have a mom and a dad to do that for him. My mom is 88 and lives 60 miles from here, and she depends on me for lots of support. I also get to play the role of grandma to one of my former students who has 5 children. I'm also mom to 5 four-legged fur balls, 4 of which are golden retrievers. And everyone knows I love Goldens, and so I get calls for help when one is found in need of something, like a new home or medical care, or simply extra love. My responsibles are many. I am part of the 10% who do 90% of the work. And most of the time I like it that way. But I found it very difficult to fit in the time needed to really work honestly and hard on my master's program. I couldn't figure out which responsibilities I could ignore. I faced many big challenges while I was enrolled in this master's program. The program created its own challenges for this digital immigrant, but it was the challenges from the outside world that were really especially hard for me. For example, right before Christmas one term, my truck was broken into, and I had a checkbook stolen, and a checkbook from my mother's account was stolen. Another example, a close friend of 15 years was paralyzed in a work accident. He was first hospitalized in Orange County, and then up in Loma Linda, and then moved to Pomona. I had used a sperm donor to conceive my son. During working on the completion of the master's program, I learned of a biological sister who is 14 months older than Greg, and she lives in Georgia. And since that time, we have flown back and forth 7 times. I created a series of posters to be used in classrooms and businesses, and so I launched a business in November of 2013 and attended conventions to display my posters and begin to distribute them. During that same time, I provided 2 workshops at CTA conventions. My school gave me a new class to teach. There was no curriculum, and I was expected to fully develop it while I was also enrolled at 3 classes at APU. In a different term at school, they assigned me a 6-period teaching assignment. My home was broken into May of 2014, and everything was gone through and ransacked, and obviously, theft of anything they could stick in their pockets and a backpack to move out the door. They actually stole a motorcycle out of the garage also. And then a week later, my mom was hospitalized, and she decided that her time on this earth was short, and told me that she would not be at my graduation because she wouldn't live that long. However, she's beaten the odds that way, and she will be at my graduation. Each of these challenges has had an emotional strain and required a large commitment of my time to follow. I do believe that God, who can see the big picture, has just been using this graduate program to prepare me for the next phase of my life. I don't know what it will look like, but I am feeling excited. My educational vision has been the same throughout my 25 years in the classroom. I want to serve as a symbol of hope to teenagers who are struggling. And now I can say I'd like to serve as a symbol of hope to others who are struggling with the challenges that life presents them. I was given the opportunity to create a curriculum that correlates directly with my vision. I created the first personal health class in Riverside County. I teach teens how to like themselves, how to live a life they're proud of, and I warn them of the rocks in the sea that will sink them, i.e., alcohol, drugs, sex, and suicide. And now as I look closer at retirement options, I yearn for God to spread my light further up and down the beach. I want God to use me to reach a larger audience. When I started this program, I had a flip phone, and although I owned an iPod, it only had 30 songs on it. I was not using social media. Even though I was using some digital, I wasn't going out and trying to embrace all of the new technology. And then 3 years ago, I went on a trip with my 12-year-old son and 3 of his friends. and I took the tom-tom that had been given to me along with us. I was confident that the kids would be able to figure out how to use it, and they could teach me. And now I wonder, how did we ever live without GPS technology? As we all know, technology changes so quickly that I was so far behind in everything I needed to know. It was in Jim Sullivan's class that I learned that I'm a digital immigrant. If I change my attitude about technology, and if I'm willing to try new things, I will never be a digital native, but I can become digitally bilingual. The future holds many possibilities. I'm excited to see what God has planned for me. I claim Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. This technology degree has advanced my knowledge and experience using digital means for reaching the broader expanse of the beachfront and all the people on it. I will never be a digital native, but through education, experience, and time, I will be digitally bilingual. That digital knowledge will allow me to expand my audience and communicate to them in a variety of methods. Only God knows what the future may hold and what direction He will lead me. But here are some of my ideas of where I may be headed. First, I entered the program hoping to create a workshop to take to the streets entitled Teen Parties of the New Millennium. And I still hope I can further that along in development and marketing. Second, I created a line of posters during this master's program that can be marketed to educators and human resource departments. I've completed phase 1 of the new business venture, and now I will begin on phase 2 and phase 3. Another development that has occurred was the opportunity to conduct 2 different workshops at CTA conferences, and I definitely hope to be doing more of this. I may be able to retire in 3 or 4 years, and I very much want out of California. So I'm looking at buying property in the Red Rock country of northern Arizona. And I have a couple of different ideas there. A lot of what I love is being outdoors and being around animals. So I've had thoughts of opening up a pet hotel. And I'm also going to begin training 2 of my golden retrievers as therapy dogs, so that a year from now we can take the CERT test and be licensed as comfort dogs. Therapy dog work is local, occurring within the county where I live, nursing homes and schools, rehab centers. But comfort dog work involves traveling to the crisis point, such as a school shooting, tornado's path of destruction, terrorist attack, flood zone, or fire zone disaster. Just a month ago, when my mom was recovering from a hospitalization, she said to me that she thinks my life will look very different 5 years from now than how it is today. I don't know where God will use me, but I'm confident that He will continue to use me as a lighthouse, spreading the light and His hope to others.